It's been a great summer, but I'm going to do an informal introduction for a reason. Alexa Van Artrick is the manager of the Office of Aging and Disability in Chesterfield, of which I am strongly connected to being the chair for the Chesterfield Council on Aging. So Alexa and I work very close together. She's on the executive committee for the council. She's also on the board for CPSL, which is a nonprofit over top of the Chesterfield Triad and the Chesterfield Council on Aging. CPSL is Chesterfield Partners for Successful Living. So it's a nonprofit that is the umbrella of those two entities. Alexa has come to Chesterfield, she has taken this responsibility and has done an amazing job. We are so blessed in Chesterfield to have her leadership and to have her leadership of change. She has come forth with the energy that I so admire and with a desire to really make a difference. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Alexa. And it is yours, my dear.
For that warm welcome.
Thank you.
So as John said, I'm the manager of Aging and Disability Services. It's an office technically, but it's really just me and a part-time coordinator, Bernadette Gilmore. She's, like I said, part-time, but she does a ton of work for a couple of the services we offer that I'll share. And usually we kind of travel as a duo, but she couldn't make it today. And our office is under Community Engagement and Resources. My office has kind of moved around, I think, throughout the years, but so our department really focuses on engagement opportunities, getting people out there, having events, offering services, making sure people are connected to the resources they need. You always hear, I didn't know that Chesterfield offered that, or I didn't know we had that in Chesterfield. So our job is really acting as the front porch to connect people. My office is 20 years old. Through the Committee on the Future, it was a group that did a lot of research into what was going on in Chesterfield, what were the primary needs and concerns, and what did the data look like through the Census Bureau. And they found, which is no surprise, that older adults are the fastest growing population in Chesterfield, as it is across the globe, at least in most countries. So they created the office, formerly known as the Senior Advocate, and that didn't really fit the position according to the manager a couple years ago. So now I'm the manager of Aging and Disability Services. They have offices like mine across the region. There's one in Henrico, one in Ashland, one in Richmond. And so we all kind of do the same thing, just depending on the county or the city we represent. So our mission of the office, I won't read it verbatim, but we're really dedicated to providing those engagement opportunities that I mentioned and connecting people with information and resources, specifically seniors, family caregivers, people with a disability who are an adult in Chesterfield. And our vision is to provide leadership to our county. So like the Board of Supervisors, people who are making decisions, we're providing leadership, we're bringing information to them saying, this is what we're seeing, this is what we're hearing, how can we make a difference in these communities? And is anyone familiar with Senior Connection? It's our area agency on aging. They serve all of Richmond. People get us confused, so I just have a disclaimer that we're not an area agency on aging, but we are specific to the county. Do you think I'm being loud enough for the people on the camera?
Can you guys remotely hear Alexa okay?
That's not a good sign.
No. Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So just a deeper dive into the numbers. This is data from 2021, but it's pretty consistent now. So by 2045, we'll have 45% of Chesterfield over the age of 50. And it's going to be 42 in 2035. So within like 10 years, 42% of people are going to be 50 and older. And then by 2040, 25% of people will be 65 and older. So that's 1 in 4 people you'll meet in Chesterfield will be 65 and older, which is pretty huge. And as the regional data shows, by 2030, that will actually outnumber school-age children across Richmond. So there'll be more people 60 and older than 5 through 19 years old. So that definitely puts a demand on existing systems and resources, hospital systems, emergency systems, engagement, like Parks and Rec. It puts a demand on these currently existing services to ramp it up and meet the needs of the seniors that are growing in Chesterfield. And I received this question at a recent presentation. Are people growing older here, or are they moving from outside into Chesterfield? And there's no really data that shows that, but I've met a lot of seniors who moved here to be near their children, because a lot of millennials are moving out of the city into Chesterfield because cost of living is a lot more inexpensive in Chesterfield County. And as they're growing older, the parents want to live closer to them. So I would say it's a mix of both people growing older and moving here. So one thing that my office does, one of the biggest services we offer is kind of what I call a hotline. So we have 7878, 804-768-7878. It's on everything I have here. We have a couple people answering the phone. We get around 500 calls a month from people looking for a resource that ranges from a home care option, financial services, legal assistance. My neighbor's been leaving his trash in my yard. Who do I call to get their trash out of my yard? Like anything you can think of, we've gotten a call. I got a call about a guy who had a pool installed wrong, and he happened to be a senior. So he called my office, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm really the right person to answer that, but we find an answer for you. That's the point. We'll connect you to whoever you need, and we'll make sure you get an answer if it's not directly from us. So housing is a big one. We always are getting calls about affordable housing. There's not a lot of options in Chesterfield. So what my office does is really try to advocate for affordable housing, affordable apartment complexes, specifically to seniors, because it's a huge need here in East Tennessee. We have a telephone reassurance program. This is a list of around 32 seniors that receive regular phone calls from our volunteers. These are seniors who are isolated, who don't have any family nearby, many of them are homebound because of a disability. They don't have anyone. And it's really, really common, and it's perpetual across the entire country. But our volunteers really try to make them feel like they have someone checking on them, someone looking out for them. It acts as a wellness check to make sure they're okay. And if they're not, we have an emergency contact for them. And then they just build a relationship through conversations over the phone. And then we try to get them to meet them once or twice a year so they have that face-to-face time. But it's really meant to be just a verbal telephone reassurance program. And if they need that face-to-face, we have resources to give them.
Question.
Yeah.
Are you aware of a program where I have a neighbor who has shared with me that he has a police officer visit him some frequency just to check in?
That's Seniors in Touch. That's the sheriff. Yeah, that one's great.
It is good.
Yeah, that one's great, and we work with them. So they have seniors who need home visits and rides. I have seniors who just want a phone call. Some of the seniors on both ends want both, so we work with them to do both basically. So I have some other seniors on my program and vice versa, but they're great because they'll drive you to any doctor's appointment you need if you don't have any family in the area.
As far as I know, this gentleman only had a drop-in visit.
Yeah, they do that drop-in visit too, and they'll sit with them, hang out, check on them, check on.
He must spend a half hour. So it's not a small amount of time.
No, yeah, and they're a lot of our volunteers, a lot of our employees.
I see that.
Sheriff car.
Out there.
They're coming for you.
Yeah. And you
Alexis,
see more frequently, and you're like, they're in a big trouble. They're
I asked him one time, why is the sheriff come see you so much? He explained to me what it was.
Wow, that's so neat.
I didn't know that program existed.
Yeah, it's Seniors in Touch, and they have a wait list. But I actually just met with one of the I guess I don't know what the staff member is, but it's like the visitor from the sheriff, and I asked them if they have any room on their wait list, and she said, yeah, give me names, we can sign people up, we have some space. And a lot of them are volunteers too, people who are retired from the sheriff's office who have the time and capability to drive up to their house and be with them. It's really neat. It's really neat.
Alexis,
Yeah.
Yes, that's really interesting. I do call reassurance for Commonwealth Catholic Charities,
Yeah.
and it's a great program. I love it, and
Yes.
so do my people. And today's actually my call day, so I'm calling all my guys after this call. I just thought that was interesting that Chesterfield County has a program as well.
Yeah,
I
I
love
am
it.
on it's called Richmond Reassurance Roundtable with Common Catholic Charities, and they bring these types of programs together, the people who coordinate them, and we share connectivity resources and all that. But yeah,
Okay, so
keep
do
the
you
work.
know Diane Hargrave?
Yeah, I work closely with her, or not
Oh,
closely,
okay,
but we
yes.
volunteer a
That's
lot
how I got
together.
involved. Wow,
Oh,
small
yeah,
world.
Diane's great. Such
That's
a
all I have to say.
small
Thank
city.
you.
Sure.
Thank you for what you do.
Oh yeah, good job. And the Council on Aging, Joan, who is our chair, this is advocacy and education group that meets monthly in Chesterfield, but there's also a lot of committees you can get involved in, or you can just come to the monthly meetings and educate yourself. We have a range of topics every month, but where the actual service is really through the committees. So we have, for example, we have a whole committee dedicated to updating this resource guide regularly. This is used widely across Chesterfield, and I've actually found it outside of Chesterfield, a list of any resource or service you could ever need and all of your options for older adults and people with a disability in Chesterfield. A really great tool to give to your neighbor, to your parents, to use for yourself. And we just got these printed. These are actually the first copies, and we print like 12,000 of them. So if anyone wants one the rest of the year, yeah, you were the first one. And then we have a committee for caregiving. So we provide educational programming to people who are caregivers or family caregivers in Chesterfield. So, for example, we just did a legal and financial workshop through that committee, and then we have Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame. This is an event that recognizes seniors who are exceptional volunteers who are 60 years and older in Chesterfield, and they're nominated. And then there's three inductees out of the list of nominees that are formally inducted into the Chesterfield County Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame. So all that being said, the Council on Aging does a ton of advocacy work, a ton of volunteer work, and then we also have the monthly meetings. It's a great way to get out and get connected with people you might not meet on the street. People who come serve older adults, a lot of them are businesses or nonprofits that have older adults as their audience. So it's just really a great way to be prepared and know what's out there. And then also through my office, we coordinate with police and sheriff, Chesterfield Triad. Is anyone familiar with the Triad? Okay, they're kind of like the council where we meet monthly, but it's specific to seniors and safety. So the police typically are at every meeting helping answer questions about safety related questions, or concerned citizens of Chesterfield come and ask questions to our police, to our sheriff. We have fire and life safety at these meetings as well. We just did a self-defense class last month, which was really cool. And we also do the big senior day every year. We had it this year at Victory Tabernacle. It's a big vendor fair. We had 60 vendors there. The chief of police was there to present. Triad is a great way to get involved too. There's a ton of volunteer opportunities through Triad, and also if you just want to come to the monthly meetings and get educated, it's a great option. There's 2 programs through Triad, File of Life and Yellow Dot. Anyone have these? You File of Life? Okay. File of Life is a magnet you put on your fridge, and then there's a sticker you put on the rear, there's a sticker you put on the front of your house near like a window. And inside the magnet is your pertinent health information, any drugs you're on, any drug allergy, emergency contact, any recent hospital visits and why. You update this regularly, obviously, because your needs will change and your health needs will change. But if there's ever an emergency and you can't respond to a first responder at your house, they will see this magnet and know to go to your fridge, and they'll have all your information. It could literally save your life. So it's a really important tool that anyone at any age should have. And then a yellow dot is similar, but it's for your car. So there's a yellow dot you put at your rear driver's side window, and if you're ever on the side of the road, unresponsive, you're in an accident, they'll find this in your glove compartment. And there'll be a picture of you in there to make sure you're the driver. And same thing, health information, emergency contact, your address, all that good stuff. I brought a couple with me. Might not be enough for every single person, but I'm always happy to mail you one if you want. Senior law clinics, through my office, we have a life planning document service. So if you need a will, an advanced directive, a POA, all of that, it's done for free through my office if you're eligible. It's for typically low to middle income seniors, but we work with volunteer lawyers who will work with you to complete these. It's a basic form of the documents, but they're still completed. And they'll work with you to make sure all your information is right, and then you come into my office and you would get it notarized. So free law service if anyone is interested or knows anyone who'd be interested. We also have kinship resources. Is anyone in here grandparent raising grandkids? Or knows of a grandparent raising grandkids with kids in the house? It's really, really common in Chesterfield. We had a support group going through my office that the parents were a little too busy, their grandparents were a little too busy. So we instead kind of pivoted to having, we made a resource guide for kinship families, but more importantly, we have a resource fair on September 13th. If you know of a grandparent raising a grandkid, it's going to be at Central Library. That's where we'll have social services, schools will be there, mental health, Parks and Rec will help answer questions. A lot of times these grandparents have no idea what they're doing. They typically just get custody of the kid and then that's that. Obviously, the school system has changed from when they were a parent to now. So schools will be there to help answer questions for them. Things like Canva. I mean, I grew up on Blackboard, but Canva. And then there's like 3 other systems to just for the math classes. And then a whole other system to talk to teachers. So it's really confusing for anyone. And especially if you're a grandparent already going through potential trauma because your kid can't raise your grandchild for a reason. You want to be able to be equipped with all the resources you need. So my office is trying to make sure that they feel empowered with the information that they need to take good care of their grandchild. Already mentioned the Senior Volunteer Hall of Fame. These are our 3 inductees this year. We had Audrey Ross, Linda, I can't ever say last name, Bruthers, and then Alice Mitchell on the farm. We have our centenary recognition program. We recognize people who have reached 100 years or older in Chesterfield. We have 111 this year. I checked with Social Security last week. So we invite them to be celebrated at the board meeting in September. We had around 25. They have to write back to us and say, I would like to be recognized. You know, Social Security isn't going to just give us their information, obviously. So they have to reach back out to us to say they want to be celebrated, and typically a family member that wants them to be celebrated. But we get their life history, their advice to longevity, because obviously, I mean, the amount of wisdom they have from the last 100 years, a lot of them have lived in Chesterfield their whole life, so they're like a walking library, and they have the best advice for what helped them attain the age of 100. It's one of my favorite programs through my office, so we're doing that in September. We're just starting to get the life histories submitted now over the summer. But those are 5 of, they all are, I think 3 of them drove there that day to the board meeting, so
Wow.
they got one of them, he's 104.
Wow.
Yeah. We got some people living long in Chesterfield. And then this is one of my last slides, but we have so the first week of October is Active Aging Week, and it's recognized across the country, but Chesterfield celebrates through Staying Strong at Stonebridge, and this is a partnership with, for the first time ever, the YMCA, so they're going to be doing activities throughout the event. It's 10 to 12. And we'll also have a couple of vendors there and door prizes. So come on out Tuesday, October 3rd, and that's at Stonebridge Rec Center. And then just save the dates. I think I mentioned all these. The Council on Aging meets the 4th Thursday of every month at LLI, which shouldn't be too far from here. 4th Thursday, and then Triad meets the 3rd Thursday at North Falls Library. And then I like to, I don't know how much time I have, but how much time do I have?
Much as you want.
As much as you want.
Okay. One of the really cool parts about coming to presentations like this is I spend a lot of time behind my computer. Well, and then sometime like in meeting, like group meetings, like Trident Council on Aging, but I rarely get to just come out and connect with people like this in this way and have the time to ask you questions about living in Chesterfield. So, and I think it's important for my office to receive feedback for what you're seeing as far as what seniors need, what you would like to see. And this isn't just healthcare or emergency services or the more required things. It's also the fun ways you like to stay engaged. So I just have a couple questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My first question is, and I'm not going to go around the room, just raise your hand, and if no one raises, I'll move on to the next question. What are ways you stay active and engaged in your community? What are ways you stay active and engaged in your community?
Volunteer.
Okay. Ready?
Involvement in your homeowners or your civic association?
You know, I'm secretary and I'm thinking this would be wonderful because my subdivision is mainly, you know, they were my age when I moved in and now a lot of them are much older.
Okay.
But we've got a happy medium of young families now, but we've got old people too.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are you doing on National Night Out Night?
Yeah. Right.
We could use you.
Right. And that's so cool about those complexes because it's intergenerational. There's like kids running around and they're seniors and everyone knows each other, knows their neighbor, hopefully.
But yeah, the homeowners is good because you're always concerned about, like I am, Iron Bridge, Courthouse, Beach Road, Nash Road Extension. What's going on around us, so you're hopefully trying to basically serve the Chesterfield County website, which I think is horrible.
Oh, you know they're in the middle of they're just uprooting it. Yeah.
It's so hard to navigate.
Yeah.
But that's how I stay engaged.
Okay.
Good. Political campaigns.
Okay. A lot of those in Chesterfield.
Herb and I work together on that. We're going against this.
Competing dinners.
Neighbors, right?
Does anyone use any like YMCA's or like Parks and Rec centers?
We use Parks and Recs.
Okay.
We love it.
Okay.
And do line dancing on Tuesdays, and we're members of the Sophisticates Dance Club, which is through Chesterfield County Rec.
Okay.
And once a year, they have a senior prom.
Oh, that's what I threw. Yeah. I did it with Tanya Labo. She's with Parks and Rec.
That is absolutely.
Did you have fun? Was it?
Oh.
Sorry about the food. It was my first year doing it. I ran out of plates. I thought people were gonna flip a table because they were waiting so long for food. And then I was like, Tanya, you need to go. It was like 9. It was late, and like she had to go to the CBS, the only place that was open. Yeah.
And that's Chesterfield County Rec. That's a great time. We participated in some other classes too. Well,
A lot of ways, things like coming to events to presentations like this.
Yes, that's
Yeah. I got it locked and loaded here. So I'll let everyone browse and I'll give you a couple things so you know. Yeah. Okay, I'll go move on to the next question. What is your greatest barrier to staying active and engaged? Chesterfield County website. Okay, so physical, valid. Maybe outreach, like you said, where do I find this stuff? I can't, maybe having a better website or another way of outreach.
Yeah, how do people find out when you're dealing with seniors, and not all seniors are up on technology?
Right.
So how do you get the word out to other people that aren't on the computer?
Yeah, that's always a struggle, but I'll never not have.
Things like I don't even know if they exist anymore. Chesterfield Observer or the,
They went under. That was another
Chesterfield.
week primarily.
That's,
they both gone.
That's what's so sad that these things aren't making it.
the only thing they have now is those little neighborhood magazines, but it's too expensive to even.
And
put
it
in.
kills me because, I mean, I grew up in a city of 100,000 and they put out a weekly newspaper, and still do. This county is 300,000 and they don't. And you know stuff goes on here.
Absolutely, it
What
does.
is seniors guide? Is that free? Seniors guide to receive it?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, there's a magazine called Seniors Guide.
Oh,
But
gosh.
that's more focused on health living and senior community.
Okay, yeah, it's not really, there's, I know we would start.
Talking it, and then launch.
Anything else, a barrier to staying active and engaged?
What about transportation?
Did anyone find that? And this doesn't even need to be for you, it could be something you've heard.
Well, I don't know, there's Uber now, but somebody says he's not doing those things. But isn't there a push to try and get more buses on
Yes.
the corridor roads?
Are you familiar with the transportation structure in Chesterfield? Maybe I need to have a speaker,
Yes,
so that's.
like
what
Plan
I'm-
RDA,
Yes.
yeah. Ken Lance will do it,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Ken Lance, right? Sometimes I say celebrity names and I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like get my world confused. Okay, anything else for a greatest barrier?
Well, coverage of the newspaper. Just,
Uh-huh,
first of all, I think it
yeah, the dispatch, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And as far as being a newspaper, they get supposed to work.
They have their online newspaper, that's probably just gonna.
Well, it's so expensive.
Well, and I think.
And I just got a notice today, it's going up more.
Yes, I'm funny, I know it's dropping it.
I think
It's so
it's
expensive.
It's ceased to exist like a lot of this.
Yeah.
Because of the trend.
And I think
Yeah, no, it's just like a bottom line thing, if there's no demand or not enough demand for it, but it almost should be.
Because as the subscription base is going down,
Mhm.
the price is going up, which is. It's a.
Even the online
No,
subscription is kind of
Box.
Yeah, oh, really? Yeah, you're right, yeah,
it's. I stopped my subscription.
yeah.
But Ronnie, you hit the nail on the head. You know, from my perspective, having a Chesterfield County newspaper, if there was just 4 or 5 pages of just stuff
Yeah,
for the month, maybe would be pretty cool.
Some kind of an insert or
Yeah,
something.
and I found that Chesterfield Observer became less attractive to me the last 5 years as it did earlier.
really?
Yeah.
Like just.
It was more about advertising
That's true.
than it was about
Information.
not nice.
Probably because they run out of money though, they need the.
Nice to
Yeah,
read.
yeah.
They need the.
Yeah, it's like the radio now, it's only, I think every time I change the channel on the radio, it's commercial because they have less demand, so they need to add more commercials. Yeah,
It's some things like postage going.
I cannot believe that.
I don't either.
Today,
Pay attention,
I didn't hear about it until
Focus
yesterday.
Forever stamps, they say 600.
Well, it doesn't- yeah, but the next time you buy it.
I didn't know that.
Right, right.
They're gonna get you eventually,
Yes, yes, they do.
or they got you.
oh, they already got you, I just bought a book of them. So this is maybe similar, but phrased differently than the last question. Which programs or services are lacking or non-existent that you think Chesterfield County could provide that would make a difference for your community? So what are some programs and services, or one in particular you think of that you believe that your government should be offering that we don't already?
Now, this is your time because you have listening ears to a connection to make things happen.
Wouldn't you all like an indoor walking place? It's just indoor. Yeah, but a mall, for me, it's 20 minutes away and a tank of gas, you know, I mean, there and back, but maybe
Like an indoor track?
for walking,
Okay.
just for walking. I mean,
Like a
unless they
temperature
wanna make something
controlled,
for running,
yeah.
just a place where senior-ish people or younger people can walk. That is not like a slippery, slidey surface like a mall or a Walmart.
Mhm.
That might be
There's
nice.
that old Matoaka school. Anyone familiar with that? It's like a vacant lot now, Matoaka Elementary School. They're trying to figure out what to do with that. They want to make it somewhat like a park or apartment, affordable housing. They've asked me a couple times.
Just indoors for inclement weather.
They just opened the Beulah Recreation Center. It is so nice. We went to that.
Yes, yeah.
That is really.
Okay. Is there an indoor walking?
There are some large areas. I don't know. There's a big gym, but I didn't notice whether there was an area around it.
Might be worth checking out.
Good maybe
maybe.
in there. Yeah.
It's off Hopkins.
Very nice.
I don't care for the marriage of
Thank you.
Chesterfield County state
Uh-huh.
road system repair.
The road system repair.
Yeah,
Oh.
Charter Colony
Yeah.
has not been paid adequately. It's always been a patchwork, okay, for approaching 20 years. When I see other community main thoroughfares being either slurried
Mhm.
or asphalted with at least a 1 or 2 inch butter coat. Okay,
I don't know anything about that. About butter coating
well,
or flurry.
it's the slurry is the liquid that is spread around,
Mhm.
okay? The asphalt is either a 1 inch or 2 inch thin coating as
Mhm.
opposed to a 4 inch
Mhm.
base,
Okay.
okay? They very rarely do a 4 inch base. What they do anymore is they grind down what's there, okay? They will introduce that used asphalt into somebody else's pot,
Mhm.
and they've made it reintroduce in whatever they put on yours, somebody else's pot, okay?
So you think that the partnership though is letting things fall through the cracks as far as
Well,
repairing
the
roads?
roads, all our tax dollars for roads, for Chesterfield County, is collected, goes to the state, because the state is
Yeah.
responsible for, that's what I'm
Yeah.
calling marriage,
Uh-huh.
okay? But I don't think it's being adequately,
Are you talking about VDOT?
In Charter Colony, he's right. I haven't quite understood that either. But
I think they built, isn't Charter Colony, frankly, wasn't it wetlands before they built up over it?
well,
Swampy, that's what you're gonna
in
get.
this, right, in the Brandonville area, you're absolutely right.
I think it was all swampland.
well, it doesn't matter, they're not maintaining.
They didn't have.
Swamp or no swamp, you gotta maintain it.
That's a good, I'm glad you brought that up.
There's like one of our board chair, Kevin Carroll, he's on the chair of the CVTA, Central Virginia Transportation. He'd be a good person to talk to. You could talk to him. He's the board chair, but I think he'd be very interested in that. He's the chair of Chesterfield County's board and then also the chair of Central Virginia Transportation Authority, who works with VDOT to plan roads in Chesterfield.
Yeah, there's no right.
Yeah,
Maybe he could come, tell us all about the roads.
yeah. If you felt empowered Sure, Ben, you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, 804-323-2033.
Most of these things are on a 5-year, 10-year, no-year plan
Right.
roads. They've been identified that they're gonna address them
Mhm.
when monies become available.
But they're not, it's not gonna get on the list until someone like you steps aboard and says,
Well, no, it can get on the list from their own engineering evaluation. It can be on the list,
but the help.
but I don't know where it is on the list. I don't know where that list is.
I'm gonna say,
Okay. Anything else as far as programs related to older adult services that you think would be awesome to have in Chesterfield? Or, no,
Burial service.
I'm not making that. I'm not writing that one down.
I just would like to say that it's amazing the amount of services that are available. So it's really are appreciative of the things that are being done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Kudos to the county for doing what they're doing.
Thank you.
yes.
I appreciate that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are roosters allowed in Chesterfield County?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not.
I got one that cock-a-doodle-doos all day long.
In your neighborhood or is it yours?
Oh, it's not mine, no. It's in my neighborhood. I just don't know where it is.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
it's just for animal services. I see that they're posting chickens, so I think chickens are
I
allowed,
think they are too.
but I don't think roosters are allowed.
Roosters are not.
Yeah.
Chickens are, but you can only have so many chickens. Y'all had some other ones.
A lot of weird. Feels very arbitrary at some point. What they can and can't.
Cock-a-doodle-doos all.
Okay.
You know what you can do is call them.
Well, rooster.
Yeah.
I will say, something that they are doing well, I think, is when Chesterfield or VDOT is repaving or with intersections, they're putting in the wheelchair accessible ramps at each corner. And I'm happy because at my entrance to my subdivision is now a crosswalk across Iron Bridge Road to like, I can walk from my house to the central library now.
Right.
Or if I need courthouse, I'm just saying for genealogy purposes, if I need to go to the courthouse and check documents and stuff, it's right there.
Yeah.
So,
And before Iron Bridge was really not really a road that was easy.
oh, you would take your life in your hands if, I would
You
never.
go all the way down to like the gas station, the Starbucks, and then come all the way back, but
So
there's still not sidewalks.
you know what started that was the statistic earlier that Alexa was showing you about our aging population. It got the open ears of the planning commission to approve certain modifications now with construction.
I'm happy about that, but I also will be a little argumentative and say I have lived in my subdivision for 27 years. And we wanted a traffic signal and the county would never put one in until it suited their needs, and then we got one. And I think it's the same with the roads, but either way, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, that's good because now I can actually walk. Eventually, I will be able to walk from my house to whatever they're building at Spencer's Oil with the shopping center and everything at 288. So
I didn't realize that was gonna be, have they started? Is it gonna be shopping?
they've been plowing down all.
Oh, yeah, it's so loud, which makes me really sad. I didn't realize it was a shopping.
Originally, it was supposed to be a hotel, conference center, upscale dining, and now I think it's probably gonna be, you know, what's the crafty store there?
Oh my.
The lady's name? Not Mary Kay, but you know what?
Joanne?
Joanne's, probably a Joanne's, Chick-fil-A's and things like that.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's more than I've got now, so I'll be happy, but as I age in place, I hopefully will be able to walk.
Yes, yeah.
And I think I'll be able to walk if I can.
That's right. Should be more sidewalks where people can and more crossovers with things to stop the traffic. So we can.
We've got the things, I am gonna test it out, my husband doesn't want me to. He's afraid Somebody's not gonna be paying attention to the road and they'll be on their phone and. Anyway, but anyway, thank you. But
I
think
didn't do
they
it.
are- In,
Didn't
in,
play a part in
in
it.
places, they are doing things to help.
That's
people
good to hear.
in places.
Good to hear.
I'd like to make a comment. Sure. I was with Dottie this past week when she went to the auto train, and we went out to lunch. And the crosswalk was at the corner. And I'm not just saying her, I noticed that would be anyone that would be handicapped. When you had to let them out in front of a restaurant. And it was difficult getting out of a car, getting up the curbing, because it was too far to the corner for her to go, or even to drop her off, and then walk to the entrance of the restaurant. And as we age, I'm starting to notice more and more of these things that are hindering us from getting into stores or restaurants of any kind.
Like the ramp was too far?
Yes, the corner ramp, I don't know if that's what they call it. When they.
From where drop off is?
Yes, drop off at a corner so that you can, walk down if you have a rollator or you're in a wheelchair. To get, because even parking was across the street. Handicapped, I mean, all parking was across the road. Restaurant. And I'm going, that's quite a ways for anyone that's got any kind of handicap or has oxygen, even any kind of a disability. And I thought, any state needs to look at whatever the regulations are to put in these ramps to get into the sidewalk to get where you're going.
I don't know if there is a requirement that you have to have so many parking spaces. I
Though it seems like the ones with the more spots, there usually is a ramp, but I can't tell if that's even a requirement or if it's just it's common sense, but. Thank you for sharing that. That's good for me to know when working with the planning department. They sometimes come to me trying to build something and they want feedback or things that from the community, so it's nice to have these answers for them. Any questions?
If you think about something later, you could share it with me and I'll
Yeah.
get it to Alexa.
And my cards are in all the bags too, so they can, or Joan knows how to find me. Joan has my cell phone. Thank you so much.